welcome back. It is the 13th of August, 2023. And if you're here, I'm loving you. If you're not here, I'm loving you too. Sending a big shout out to those that listen later in the SoundCloud or Buy Me a Coffee library, and got a very sacred soul in the space with me today. I'm just doing my best to open my heart to your heart, to guide, to serve, to support you, and breathing through and being with whatever is here for you. Whatever's here for you is meaningful and relevant, and we're going to do our best to treat it with the sacredness and the presence that it deserves. Just a brief intro today. This is an invitation to consider moving into the fifth dimension if you're not already there. And I don't have a lot of knowledge about it. I have a lot of experience, it feels like, with it. But I'll give you a brief overview. A woman named Sonia Choquette has a YouTube channel that I really like, and I really like the way she talks about these different dimensions. I think the overall context, a good way to think about it, is the vibrational way of being. It's an energetic way of being, and we are moving as a collective. Of course, this ascension, Pachamama, Mother Earth, Gaia, we can all feel sort of a shakeup from moving from one way of being vibrationally to another way of being. We see it in the breakdown that's happening in the collective with the chaos and the wars and the confusion and all of the things that the news will reveal to you and that you see in your friends and neighbors and communities, and the medical model, the government models, all of these things. But I would like to say that we are moving in the right direction. We just have to be steadfast and grounded in our heart energetics and anchor somewhere in the center of your being in order to make it through. So I know that sounds weird and vague, but I just want to also offer some context. A way to think about 3D is kind of like the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. It's being plugged in to something that's maybe not necessarily heart-oriented. It's a way of thinking about things in contrast, right or wrong, black or white, good or bad, judging, blaming, you and the other, you separate from something outside of you, other, instead of understanding the interrelatedness and the interconnectedness of it all. 3D is quite polarized in opposites, and then we find ourselves standing on one side and then fighting against anything that's not on our side, missing the deeper understanding that we're all connected, we're all related, we're all interdependent anyway. That's that's the truth of it, but we don't always perceive ourselves as such, and then it creates a lot of confusion and discord and chaos when we view reality from this 3D way of being, you and something else. It can be quite painful, and I think that's what contributes to a lot of people's anxieties or depressions, or just some of the inertia we face when we think about our future, not understanding how empowered we are to really make a difference in moving from one vibrational reality into another vibrational reality, because it takes a lot of self-accountability and self-responsibility to do as much. The fourth dimension is kind of like the period between the third and the fifth. There's more chaos and more confusion and more topsy-turvy, and then we can enter into the realm of oneness, the realm of synchronicity, of harmony, of authenticity, of mutual respect, of understanding the interconnectedness that's already here. There's a lot of safety, inherent security, feelings of trust that come up when we find ourselves living in the fifth dimension. There's a settling of the nervous system. There's a resting into the flow of life and being carried and held by life and being guided by life itself, and a surrendering to what's happening organically and naturally as life is moving as you and through you. It can feel very precarious to kind of loosen our grip on the matrix and the 3D reality, because we think as these human beings that we've got to figure it out, that we've got to do all the hows, and we've got to make the checklists, and we've got to get it done. But that's also just the tensions and the pressures of 3D. The invitation is to release your mindset from that way of being, to soothe yourself around the edges of letting go, the edges of what it feels like to surrender. It's kind of like putting your hands up at the top of the roller coaster and trusting that you're on the rails, that you're strapped in, that your life is supported and guided nonetheless. Open your body, release yourself, and flow into the new vibrational energy while you soothe and care for and be with the parts of you that still feel scared and shaky and uncertain and insecure. Of course, those feelings are going to come up for any of us that are moving into a new way of being. My friend Mike talks to me about the transformation of the caterpillar and the butterfly. There are these imaginal cells that come to life, that spark in that process of metamorphosis. And we need to trust that spark will be there for us too, as we make our own metamorphosis from one reality into another reality. I think we're going there anyway. So it's just a matter of, how is that ride going to be for you? Are you going to go kicking and screaming, or are you really going to slow it down and release the old you so that you can really fully embrace the new you? So we've got this session, and I think one more session, I've lost track, but a couple of weeks of being with the energies of fifth dimension so that you can really feel into the power, your power, to release yourself into that greater thing, that life force energy that's rooting for you, that's holding for you, that's trying to provide for you everything you need. Are you willing to let yourself go into that greater energetic and flow and flow and flow in your beautiful stream river of life, releasing yourself? Maybe it can feel less like terror and more like exhilaration. And maybe you can use your breath to help with that transition. There are things in our systems that are inherent, that are innate, that are for us, that are embedded in us to support this transition. And in spaces like this, we can slow down and honor those spaces, open those portals up, those internal portals, and then trust ourselves a little bit more along the ride, which can feel scary and bumpy. And I know that that's true. So that's why spaces like this are important, to discharge some of the tensions around the transition and to really help yourself feel more strengthened and empowered to keep on keeping on, because we're headed there if we're not there already. And parts of you may feel like you're already anchored in 5D, which is amazing. I feel like that living in the forest in Northern California. Maybe you have places in your life that feel like that too. And something else to know, some things that happen when you do find yourself moving from one vibrational reality to another, you start to change in very practical ways. Your diet changes, your sleep pattern changes, who you hang out with change, your boundaries change, especially what you put into your body as far as things that alter your consciousness, or even the quality of the food that you choose to put in your body. Those things change. You might find that you just don't have a taste for something anymore, and it confuses you. And I would say that's your fifth dimensional self coming to you saying, come on, child, let's keep on going. We don't need that where we're going. We don't need those things where we're going. And so it can be very wonderful and odd and confusing to watch yourself go through this process and see some of the negative habits or constricting habits or toxic traits or people just fall away. But that is one of the signs that you're moving into that realm of higher vibration, that you just are making healthier choices for yourself overall. And I see that happening for me and some people around me. So if that's happening for you, congratulations. Do your best to honor it. And just, as I mentioned, keep on keeping on. So that's what I want to say about today's session. It is an invitation to consider yourself a fifth dimensional being, to breathe into that, to feel into that possibility while you continue to breathe through and let go of the lower vibrations that still might be holding you back or might be hooked into you or hooked into your consciousness. We're going to give those energetics a lot of compassion. We're going to give them space. We're going to give them presence, and we're going to give them our curiosity so that maybe they can be released finally with grace and gratitude for how they've been serving you up till now. So I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your attention. I just thank you for being alive on the planet right now, because I know it's a hard time to be alive on the planet, but I'm grateful that you've chosen to be here with your breath as the medicine for right now.